The plane lurched violently, a scream ripping from my throat as the oxygen mask slapped down like a noose. In that split second, I wasn't Christian Hale anymore, just a ghost plummeting through the clouds, invisible even to myself. And then, through the chaos, a hand, warm, steady, gripped mine, pulling me back from the edge with a voice that cut sharper than any turbulence. "I've got you. Breathe with me." I stared at the man kneeling in the aisle, his uniform crisp despite the madness. Eyes like polished amber locking onto mine with an intensity that made the world shrink to just us. Gabriel. His name tag gleamed under the flickering lights, but it was his whisper, "You're not alone up here," that hooked into my chest, yanking me from the freefall of my unraveling life. For the first time in months, someone saw me, really saw me, and in that moment, as the engines whined back to life, I wondered if falling could feel like flying. The storm over the Rockies had come out of nowhere, turning our cross-country red-eye from New York to Seattle into a bucking bronco of metal and fear. I'd boarded in a daze, numb from the final, brutal email from my father, "You're no son of mine. Don't come back." It was the punctuation on a year of fractures. My coming out at 28, the family dinner that exploded into silence, the lover who'd ghosted me after one too many, "I can't do this" texts. I was fleeing east to west, chasing a job offer in tech that felt more like escape than ambition. The seat beside me stayed empty, a mercy, because I couldn't bear small talk, couldn't fake the smile that had cracked like old paint. Gabriel moved through the cabin like he owned the sky, his broad shoulders cutting a path amid the muffled sobs and white-knuckled grips. He was maybe 32, with skin the color of caramel kissed by sun, close-cropped black hair, and a jawline that could carve canyons. But it was his hands, strong, calloused from who knows what life before wings, that lingered in my mind as he passed out water bottles earlier, his fingers brushing mine accidentally, sending a spark I dismissed as static. Now, as the captain's voice crackled over the intercom, "Folks, we've cleared the worst, just a bumpy ride ahead." Gabriel didn't let go. He stayed crouched beside my seat, 14A, his knee pressing against the armrest, close enough that I caught the faint scent of his cologne, sandalwood and citrus, grounding in the recycled air. "First time flying in a storm?" he asked, his voice low, laced with that easy Midwestern drawl that made everything sound like a secret. I shook my head, swallowing hard. "No. But it feels like the first time everything's crashing down." The words slipped out, rawer than I'd meant, but his gaze didn't flinch. Held, patient, like he was reading the storm in me, not just the one outside. He nodded, squeezing my hand once before releasing it to adjust his tie. "Storms pass. They always do. Name's Gabriel Ruiz, call me Gabe. And you? What's got you gripping that tray table like it's a lifeline?" "Christian," I managed, my voice a croak. "Christian Hale. And everything, I guess. Running from New York. Running from me." Gabe's lips curved. Not a pity smile, but something warmer, like recognition. "New York's got a way of chewing you up if you're not careful. Seattle's kinder, though. Rain washes things clean." He glanced at the window, where lightning forked distant now, painting the peaks in silver. "You ever think the sky's just trying to shake loose what doesn't belong?" I laughed, a brittle sound that surprised us both. Poetic for a guy serving peanuts at 30,000 feet. He chuckled, deep and resonant, the kind that vibrated through the seatback. Blame the altitude. Makes philosophers of us all. The plane dipped again, milder this time, and he steadied me with a look. Tell you what, once we're level, I'll bring you something stronger than coffee. Deal? I nodded, watching him rise, his silhouette tall against the dimmed cabin lights. As he moved away, checking on a fussy toddler 2 rows up, I felt the knot in my chest loosen, just a fraction. Invisible? Maybe not tonight. The flight smoothed out over Wyoming, the Rockies giving way to endless plains below, dotted with the golden glow of farmhouses like scattered fireflies. Sleep tugged at the edges of my exhaustion, but Gabe's promise kept me alert. True to his word, he returned with a steaming mug, chamomile tea, laced with honey, the kind my abuela used to make back when family meant safety, not shrapnel. Couldn't find whiskey, he said, settling into the empty seat beside me for his break. The flight attendant jump seat folded down like an invitation. But this'll do. Warms from the inside. I sipped, the sweetness blooming on my tongue, chasing away the metallic tang of fear. Thanks. For earlier. I don't usually lose it like that. Everyone's got a breaking point. He leaned back, arms crossed. His uniform sleeves rolled to reveal forearms etched with faint tattoos, roses intertwined with script I couldn't make out in the low light. Mine was over the Gulf, back when I flew cargo for the Marines. Engine fire, midair. Thought that was it. But here I am, slinging snacks instead of dodging flak. Marines. It fit, the quiet command in his posture, the way his eyes scanned the cabin like a perimeter. That explains the steady hands. He shrugged. Modest. Explains the nightmares, too. But flying is freedom. No gravity holding you down. His gaze flicked to me, probing. What about you, Christian? What's the cargo you're hauling west? The question hung, heavy as the tea's steam. I could lie, spin some tale of corporate burnout, but his honesty disarmed me. A family that disowned me for being gay. A boyfriend who bailed when it got real. And a whole city that started feeling like a cage. The words tumbled out, unfiltered, the altitude stripping my filters bare. Gabe didn't recoil. He listened, nodding slowly, his expression a map of empathy, creases at his eyes from smiles earned hard. That's a heavy load. Sorry you had to carry it alone. Not alone anymore. Apparently. I met his eyes, and there it was again, that spark. Not static, but something alive, electric. He smiled, faint but genuine. Flight's not over yet. We've got 3 hours. Want to talk? Or just sit? We talked. God, did we talk? About New York's relentless pulse versus Seattle's misty veil. About the abuela who taught me to bake empanadas before cancer took her. About his sister in Chicago, the one who dragged him to his first pride parade, rainbow flag in hand, screaming Viva until he laughed through tears. Gabe was Mexican-American, born in El Paso, raised in the sprawl of Texas oil towns where being queer meant whispers and side-eyes. He'd enlisted at 18 to escape, found brothers in arms who became more than that, lost one to an IED in Fallujah. Now, at 32, he flew for Delta, chasing sunsets from coast to coast, untethered. You're brave, I said, as the Rockies faded into memory. Starting over like that, brave or stupid, he grinned, but his eyes shadowed. Truth? I'm still running too. From ghosts. From what-ifs. The cabin lights dimmed for the movie, some forgettable rom-com flickering on seatbacks, and we fell into a companionable quiet, shoulders brushing in the narrow space. His warmth seeped through, a balm against the chill of isolation. When I dozed, it was to the rhythm of his breathing, steady as a heartbeat. Descent into Seattle came too soon, the pilot's announcement jolting me awake. Gabe had slipped away, back to duty, but as we taxied, he appeared at my row, a napkin-scribbled note in hand. "In case the rain doesn't wash it clean," he said, pressing it into my palm. His fingers lingered, promise unspoken. "Safe landing, Christian." The number stared back at me, Gabe's digits, followed by "call me. Coffee's on me next time you're grounded." I stepped off that plane into SeaTac's fluorescent hum, duffel slung over my shoulder, heart pounding not from turbulence but from possibility. For the first time in forever, I didn't feel like a shadow. I felt seen. The first week in Seattle blurred into a haze of orientation meetings and sublet furniture assembly, the city's perpetual drizzle mirroring the fog in my head. My new gig at a mid-sized software firm in Bellevue, coding user interfaces for some app that promised to revolutionize remote work, kept me buried in screens, pixels a poor substitute for human connection. But every night, as I crashed on a lumpy futon in my Capitol Hill studio, Gabe's note burned a hole in my wallet. I pulled it out like a talisman, tracing the loops of his handwriting, debating the leap. By Friday, the itch won. "Hey, stranger. Still airborne. Or got time for that coffee?" See, I hit send at 2 p.m., heart in my throat, and by 3:17, his reply just landed from LAX. "Meet at 6, Elliott Bay Book Company. I'll bring the stories." Elliott Bay was a labyrinth of shelves in Pioneer Square, the air thick with ink and espresso, fairy lights strung like stars against exposed brick. I arrived early, nursing a black coffee at a corner table, my knee jiggling under worn jeans and a flannel I'd grabbed to blend with the flannel-wearing masses. Seattle's vibe was laid-back, queer-friendly in a way New York never quite managed. Less glitter, more grit, but I still felt like an imposter, fresh transplant with baggage heavier than my suitcase. Gabe walked in at 6:05, shaking rain from his dark curls, dressed down in a Henley that hugged his chest and chinos that spoke of off-duty polish. He spotted me instantly, his smile breaking wide as he wove through the crowd, 2 lattes in hand. "You look good on solid ground," he said, sliding into the seat opposite, passing me a foam cup steaming with oat milk and cinnamon. "Nervous flyer? Only when the company's this good." I took a sip, the spice warming me straight through. A close. Sans uniform. He was even more arresting. Faint laugh lines framing eyes that crinkled with mischief, a silver chain peeking from his collar, glinting like a secret. We talked for hours, the bookstore emptying around us as dusk bled into night. He regaled me with tales of layover mishaps, a passenger proposing mid-flight over the Grand Canyon, a celebrity who stiffed the crew on tips, and I countered with New York absurdities. Subway serenades gone wrong, rooftop parties where love felt infinite until dawn. Laughter came easy, a muscle I'd forgotten how to flex, and when our knees bumped under the table, neither pulled away. "You ever miss the East Coast chaos?" he asked, leaning forward, elbows on the scarred wood. "Some days. The energy. But here," I gestured vaguely at the rain-streaked window, where Pike Place ghosts bustled under umbrellas. "It's quieter. Lets you hear yourself think." Gabe's gaze softened. Or hear someone else. Like that storm we rode out, cleared the air. Didn't it? It had. More than he knew. That flight had been my unraveling. This coffee, my rethreading. As we stepped out into the downpour, shoulders brushing under his shared umbrella, I felt the pull, a magnetic north I'd lost direction to. "Walk with me," he murmured, voice low against the patter. We meandered Queen and streets, past Victorian facades glowing amber, the city unfolding like a well-worn novel. He pointed out his favorite taqueria, the park where he'd kissed his first boyfriend under cherry blossoms. Clumsy as hell, but magic. And I shared snippets of my own awkward youth. High school crushes on the debate team captain, the relief of college in Manhattan where rainbows weren't just parades but everyday flags. At my building, a creaky walk-up on Broadway, he paused at the stoop, umbrella tilted to shield us both. Rain drummed a soft rhythm. The world hushed. "This was good," he said, eyes searching mine. "Real good. Yeah." My pulse thrummed. The space between us charged. I leaned in, tentative, and he met me halfway, a kiss soft as fog, tasting of cinnamon and rain. His hand cupped my jaw, thumb tracing my cheekbone, and for that breath-held moment, Seattle felt like home. We pulled apart, foreheads touching, breaths mingling. "Text me tomorrow?" he whispered. Every day, and I did. Texts turned to calls. Calls to stolen dinners, fish tacos at a hole-in-the-wall on Alki Beach, watching ferries slice Puget Sound at sunset. Gabe's schedule was a patchwork of red ice and overnights, but he carved out slivers. A hike up Discovery Park where we tangled hands amid ferns, whispering dreams under evergreens. A vinyl night at his Belltown apartment, spinning Coltrane while he cooked carnitas, the sizzle sinking with our laughter. He lived sparse, a one-bedroom with flight maps pinned like art, a shelf of dog-eared Kerouac and Baldwin, a photo of him and his sister, arms slung around each other at a mariachi festival, grins fierce. "Family's complicated," he'd say when I asked about the rest, his Texas roots a tender bruise. His parents, devout in Laredo, had prayed away his phase after he came out at 20. The Marines offered escape, but not absolution. "I fly to forget," he'd admit, vulnerability cracking his armor. "But with you, I remember why it's worth landing." I fell hard, recklessly, the kind of love that rewires you. Christian Hale, the ghost from 14A, found flesh in Gabriel's arms, nights curled on his couch, his heartbeat my lullaby, mornings trading coffee for kisses, the world outside irrelevant. He saw my scars, the father's rejection echoing in my flinches, the ex's betrayal in my trust's slow thaw, and kissed them quiet. "You're enough," he'd murmur, fingers threading my hair. "More than, but love, like flights, hits pockets of rough air." It started subtle, a canceled date, Gabe's voice tight on the line. Crew scheduling snafu, Boston turnaround. Rain check, I brushed it off, buried in code deadlines, but the misses piled up. Then the texts shorter, sporadic, emojis replacing the poetry he'd once spun. One rainy Tuesday, 3 months in, I surprised him at the airport after his shift, armed with takeout pho and a playlist of our songs. SeaTac arrivals buzzed with reunions, but Gabe emerged alone, duffel slung low, eyes scanning past me until recognition dawned, mingled with something sharper. "Guilt? Christian? What are you? Hey." He pulled me into a hug, stiff at first, then melting, but the warmth felt rationed. "Missed you," I said, holding up the bag. "Figured we'd eat in, watch the storm roll in." His smile faltered, glance flicking to his watch. "Love that, but I've got an early flight." Family thing popped up. Family, the word snagged. He rarely mentioned them beyond stories. "Yeah." Sis called emergency. He kissed my forehead. "Quicksilver." "Tomorrow?" "Promise." Tomorrow came, then went. A voicemail, turbulence delay. "Call you from the hotel." By week's end, doubt gnawed, a low hum under my skin. I scrolled our texts, the fade evident, heart sinking like a stalled engine. Saturday, caved, driving to his place unannounced. Faux swapped for resolve. The door cracked to his neighbors. Evelyn, a wiry barista with piercings like constellations. Gabe, out of town. Left Thursday for Chicago, I think. Said it'd be quick. Chicago. His sister. But the pieces didn't fit, his evasion. The late night calls I'd woken to, hushed tones like confessions. That night, alone with takeout growing cold. Cracked. Dialed my ex back east. Voicemail a lifeline to old wounds. Missed the certainty. I slurred, deleting before send. Instead, I texted Gabe. "Everything okay? Feels like we're in holding pattern." Dots danced. Then busy. "Talk soon." "Love you." "Love you." It should have anchored. It unraveled. The following weeks were a slow descent, turbulence masquerading as calm. Gabe returned from Chicago with excuses wrapped in exhaustion. Sister's divorce drama, he claimed, waving it off with a forced grin and takeout tie that tasted like ash. I wanted to believe, clung to the fragments. A stolen weekend in the San Juans, where we kayaked emerald waters. His laughter echoing off cliffs as seals bobbed curious. The way he traced my tattoos. A sleeve of circuit boards and stars inked post-breakup, with reverent fingers, calling them your map to the stars. But the cracks spiderwebbed. He'd vanish mid-conversation, phone buzzing with work alerts that pulled him to the balcony, voice dipping low. Our dates shrank to quick brunches, his eyes darting like he expected interruption. Sex had given way to tender closeness, no frenzy, just skin on skin. Breath synced, but even that felt shadowed, his touches hesitant, as if touching me burned. One crisp October evening, as leaves turned Olympic Peninsula gold, I confronted the air between us. We'd hiked Rattlesnake Ledge, the trail a steep ribbon through firs, summit views sprawling to Rainier like a promise. Sweat slick and breathless, we collapsed on a boulder, water bottles shared, the world vast below. "Gabe," I started, gravel in my throat. "What's going on? Really?" He stiffened, gaze fixed on the horizon, jaw tight as the wind-whipped pines. "Nothing. Just life." Bullshit. The word sharp, born of frayed nerves. "You've been half here for weeks. If it's me, if I'm too much, too broken." "No." He turned, hand on my knee, urgent. "God. No. You're." His voice cracked. Eyes stormy. "It's not you." "Then what?" Pressed, heart hammering. "Chicago? Your sister? Or is there someone else?" Silence stretched, taut as the ledge's edge. When he spoke, it was a whisper. "I didn't want this. Not like this." The words landed like a downdraft. Someone else. He nodded, slow, defeated. Not like you think. It's complicated. Complicated. The euphemism curdled. We descended in quiet, the trail's switchbacks mirroring my spiraling thoughts. Back in his truck, engine rumbling toward the ferry, he broke. His name's Marcus. We met in the core best friend. More than that, off the books. He got hit bad in Kandahar. PTSD chewed him up. Discharged last year. Moved to Seattle for treatment. I promised I'd be there. As a friend. But it blurred. He proposed civilian life. Stability. I said yes. Before you. The ferry horn blared as we boarded. Waves chopping black under sodium lights. I stared at the rail. Salt sting in my eyes. Before me. So I'm the blur. No, Christian. Listen. He reached. But I flinched. Marcus. He's fragile. Suicidal episodes. I can't just leave. The word bitter. You did with me. Every time you flew out, it was to him, wasn't it? The family emergencies. Gabe's face crumpled. Confirmation. I thought I could balance it. Be what he needed. What you needed. But I fell for you hard. Real. And now, he trailed off, hands gripping the wheel white-knuckled. The crossing to Seattle was agony. Bainbridge fading like a dream deferred. What now? I asked, voice hollow. I don't know. Honesty. Raw. I love you. But I can't abandon him. Not after everything. We docked in silence, the city lights mocking with their cheer. At my drop-off, he leaned across, kissed desperate, tasting of regret. Give me time. Please. I nodded, numb, slipping from the cab into the night. Time. As if love came with schedules. The betrayal settled like fog, thick and disorienting. Work blurred, bugs in code mirroring the glitches in my heart. Friends I'd made tentatively. A coder named Riley with a penchant for bad puns. Our queer book club at the local noticed. Probed gently. Rough patch. Riley asked over IPAs at a Capitol Hill dive. Rainbow flags fluttering in the breeze. More like a crash landing. I spilled fragments, the weight lifting fractionally with each word. But nights were war. Replaying Gabe's confessions. The proposal I'd never known. The invisibility returning tenfold. Why me? The rebound. The distraction. A week later, impulse drove me to the airport, not to stalk, but to reclaim. SeaTac's International Terminal thrummed with farewells, but I lingered at arrivals, a coffee in hand like armor. When Gabe emerged from a Dallas flight, uniform rumpled, eyes lighting on me with shock then warmth, I held firm. We need to talk. For real. He nodded, leading me to a quiet corner cafe, the hum of gates a distant roar. Over cooling lattes, the floodgates opened. I ended it with Marcus, he said, voice steady but eyes red-rimmed. Told him the truth about you, about us. He understood, in his way. We're getting him real help, therapy, program. But I'm free now. If you'll have me, relief warred with wariness. Free? Or just grounded temporarily? Gabe reached across, palm up. I choose you. Every flight, every layover. No more secrets. His thumb brushed my knuckles. Plea in the touch. I see you, Christian. All of you. Let me prove it. I searched his face, the lines of fatigue, the earnest plea, and felt the fog thin. One step. Dinner. No promises. His smile bloomed, tentative. One step. That dinner stretched into dawn. Candlelit Italian in Belltown. Pasta twirled slow. Stories retold with new light. We laughed at the absurdity. Love as a three-way tug-of-war, and cried over the hurts, his tears hot on my shoulder as he confessed the guilt that had chained him. I thought loyalty meant staying. But it means being true to him, to me, to you. By morning, tangled in my sheets, we weren't fixed, but forging. Seattle's rain-pattered approval, washing slate if not clean, then clearer. Yet storms don't dissipate, they regroup. November brought holidays, that American gauntlet of forced cheer and family facades. Gabe's schedule lightened, but mine didn't. Thanksgiving loomed with a work trip back east. Code conference in Boston masquerading as obligation. Come with, I urged, half joking, over pumpkin pie at a friend's potluck. Be my buffer, he laughed, but his eyes shadowed. Texas calls. Mom's birthday. First time home since. Well, since I came out clean. The words hung. You going? Have to. Closure. Or something. He squeezed my hand under the table, amid turkey and queer kin sharing stories of chosen families. But Christmas? That's us. Tree in the park. Lights on the bay. I nodded, but unease stirred. Texas, the cradle of his ghosts. My Boston jaunt was a whirlwind of panels and PowerPoints, networking with sharp-dressed devs who eyed my ringless finger with speculation. No Gabe texts lit my phone. Instead, a call from Dad's number, unknown but unmistakable. I let it ring. Voicemail a coward's shield. Christian, it's me. Your mother's not well. Come home. We need to talk. Need. As if they hadn't severed that cord months ago. I deleted it, but the barb lodged. Back in Seattle, Gabe picked me up, airport kiss fierce amid the throng. Missed you, he breathed, duffel forgotten as we claimed baggage. But his phone buzzed insistent, Chicago area code. Marcus. Just checking in, he assured, pocketing it quick. Trust, fragile as new ice, creaked. Gabe's Texas trip hit December 1st, a 4-day blur he downplayed. Mom's mellowed, he texted from Laredo, photos of tamales and twinkling lights. Went well. Thinking of you. But his voice on calls carried strain. Silences heavy as humidity. I prepped our Christmas solo. A modest tree in my studio. Ornaments scavenged from thrift shops. Glass stars and wooden reindeer, strung with white lights. Riley helped, stringing popcorn garlands while blasting holiday jazz. He's lucky, they said, punching my arm. Don't let the ghosts win. Christmas Eve. Snow dusted the sound rare and magical, but Gabe's flight delayed, icing over the plains. Tomorrow morning, he promised, video call flickering his face weary. I'll make it epic. Epic came at dawn, him at my door, cheeks flushed from cold, arms laden with gifts, a leather-bound journal for my sketches, a silver cuff etched with coordinates of our first kiss. We unwrapped slow, amid cocoa and carols, his head on my lap as Bing Crosby crooned. This, he murmured, is home. But mid-morning, his phone rang, sister, frantic. Mom found out. About us. The proposal thing with Marcus leaked, old gossip, and now she's spiraling. Praying, crying. Wants me there. Now, the joy curdled. Go, I said, masking the fracture. Family first. He kissed me deep. Apology in the press. Back by New Year's. Swear. He didn't. New Year's Eve dawned gray. The city gearing for revelry while I nursed a solitary coffee. Seattle's fireworks a distant promise. Gabe's texts trickled. Mom's a mess. Stayed longer. Then radio silence. Days bleeding into a week. Work offered distraction, a promotion pitch. Led dev on a passion project. But focus frayed. Code compiling errors like my resolve. Riley dragged me to a queer dance night at Numos. Bass thumping through veins. Bodies a kaleidoscope of glitter and grind. Dance the herd out. They shouted over synth, pulling me to the floor. I tried, sweat slick and laughing. A stranger's hand on my waist sparking nothing but echo. Home by 2 a.m. Buzz fading to ache. I scrolled Gabe's Instagram. Last post a Laredo sunset. Caption, roots and wings. Roots. The word choked. By January 5th. Desperation 1. A call. Voicemail my confessional. Hey. It's me. Radio silence hurts worse than turbulence. Call back. Please. Nothing. January 10th. Impulse airport run, not arrivals, but a bar overlooking gates. Hoping for a glimpse. SeaTac's vastness mocked. But fate or cruelty delivered. Gabe. Boarding a Southwest to Dallas. Duffel in hand. But not alone. Arm in arm with a woman mid-40s. Dark hair pulled tight. Features a feminine echo of his mother. They paused at security. Her hand on his cheek. Words lost to glass but gestures clear. Blessing. Burden. He didn't see me. I fled before tears betrayed. Driving erratic through slush. Pulling over on I-5 to sob. The betrayal a fresh wound. Roots. Indeed. Had it all been a performance? The kisses. Confessions. A Texan prodigal's rebellion. Quashed by maternal plea? Back home. Purge began. Deleted texts. Boxed his cuff. The journal half filled with unsent poems. Riley staged an intervention over ramen. Ice fierce. You're worth more than standby love. I know, but knowing didn't staunch the bleed. Work's promotion landed. Congrats email with confetti emojis, but victory tasted hollow. Dad called again. Voice gruff, cancer. Stage 3. Come home, son. Son. The word a hook. Yanking old guilts. I booked a red-eye to JFK. Not for reconciliation, but reckoning. New York hit like frostbite. The brownstone in Brooklyn unchanged. Mom's embrace frail but fierce. Dad's handshake awkward. I's avoiding mine. We're trying, he muttered over hospital jello. Mom's chemo drip beeping metronome. Trying. Crack something, not forgiveness, but understanding. Families. Fractured altars we return to anyway. 2 weeks blurred. Bedside vigils. Sibling squabbles with my brother, straight. Settled. Silently judging. Walks in Prospect Park where snow muffled memories of first loves. No word from Gabe. I'd blocked him. A digital moat. But on a gray afternoon, as Mom napped, my phone buzzed unknown. Texas code. Christian. This is Elena, Gabe's sister. Please. He needs you. Needs. The gall. I almost hung up, but her voice, warm, accented, pleaded. He's breaking. Mom pushed, arranged a date. Church boy from home. He went, once, to appease. Hated it. Now he's spiraling, drinking, missing flights. Talks about you nonstop. Says he lost his north. North. The word pierced. Why call me, after everything? Because you're his heart. And he's too stubborn to admit. I hung up, turmoil churning. Mom woke, eyes sharp despite fatigue. Trouble? She asked, hand on mine. Love, I said, simple. The kind that crashes. She nodded, wisdom in wrinkles. Or rebuilds stronger. Your father. We crashed too. After you left. But we're here. Choose your wreckage wisely. Her words echoed on the flight west. Turbulence light but insistent. Seattle greeted with sunbreak. Rare January gold. I didn't call Gabe. Instead, airport bar again, this time, deliberate. He was there, nursing a whiskey at 14B. Irony sharp, eyes hollowed, uniform askew. Christian, he stood, chair scraping, hope and horror in his stance. How? Doesn't matter. I slid onto the stool beside, signaling the bartender. Talk, he exhaled, deflating. I'm sorry. God, so sorry. Mom. She cornered me. Fix this sin, she said. Set up the date. Nice guy, but wrong. I went to shut her up, but it broke me. Realized I can't live half-true. Came out fully, screamed it at dinner, plates flying. She's cut me off. Elena's the only bridge left. The whiskey burned, truth hotter. And me? Was I the experiment? No, vehement, hand on my arm. You were salvation. Still are. I blocked myself, thought you deserved better than my mess. But losing you, it's killing me. Eyes met, raw, the cabin pressure of our history pressing. I can't be second string, I said, voice steady. Not again. You're not. You're everything. He leaned, forehead to mine, whisper fierce. Fly with me. Not away from it all. Together, the bar hummed oblivious, but our world narrowed. I nodded, slow. One more flight. See if we stick the landing. We did. That night, his apartment, not for passion, but presence. Takeout forgotten, just holding, stories spilling like rain. His Texas exile detailed, the date's awkward fumble, Mom's sobs turning to silence, Elena's midnight rescues. My New York vigil shared, the cancer's shadow softening Dad's edges. We're all just trying not to crash, I said, his arms anchor. January thawed to February, tentative rebuild. Dates resumed, Valentine's at the Space Needle, city lights a Valentine below. His hand in mine as we toasted to altitudes unknown. But scars itched, his late calls therapy now. For both, my flinches at silences. Conflict simmered, unspoken. March brought bloom, cherry blossoms in the U District, our walks hand in hand drawing smiles from passers-by. Gabe's schedule stabilized, a bid for regional routes keeping him earthbound more. We talked future, a shared lease, road trip to Joshua Tree, dreams woven tentative, fragile as spring. Then, the gale, mid-April, a knock at my door, post-shift, Gabe en route. Elena, In person, suitcase battered, eyes swollen. He didn't tell you? She choked, collapsing into my couch. Tell me what? Marcus. Relapsed. Bad. Overdose scare last week. Gabe. He's gone back. To help. Said it's final this time, no strings. But he didn't say goodbye. Gone. The word vacuumed air. Elena's story tumbled. Marcus's spiral post-breakup. Gabe's guilt-fueled flights east. Secret visits masked as layovers. He loves you, she insisted. But duty. It's his chain. Betrayal's second wave drowned. I thanked her numb, sent her to a hotel, then paced till dawn. Seattle's lights blurring through tears. Gabe's texts that night with Marcus. Helping. Be back soon. Love. Love. The lie that bound and broke. The silence after Elena's revelation was a void, sucking light from days. I called in sick. Code uncompiled. World reduced to my studio's four walls. Gabe's forgotten hoodie slung over a chair like accusation. Our playlist mocking from the speaker. Riley arrived with groceries. Tough love in tow. Dump the dead weight. You're gold. He's fools. But gold tarnishes. And fools cling. Midweek. A package. No return address. But his scrawl inside a mixtape. Old school cassette labeled Skyward mixtape. For when gravity pulls too hard. Tracks we danced to. Plus new. Springsteen's Thunder Road. Raw Yearning. Baldwin essays tucked in the case. Underlined. Love is or it ain't. Thin love ain't love at all. Thin. The word indicted. I played it once. Then shelved. Fury fueling a purge. His things boxed. Labeled return to sender. Work pulled me back. Project deadline looming. Promotions probation but focus fractured. Bugs breeding in my haste. Gabe's return hit May 1st. Unannounced. At my office lobby. Delta Polo swapped for a tee. Jeans faded. Face gaunt as the sound's fog. Security eyed him curious. But I waved him up. Elevator ride thick with unsaid. Christian, he started. But I cut. Door clicking shut behind us in the empty conference room. Save it. Voice steel. Though heart quaked. Elena's visit? The tape? Too little. Too late. He winced. Leaning on the table. Knuckles white. I know. I fucked up again. Marcus. He tried to check out. Pills. Note blaming me. Couldn't not go. But I told him clean break. Got him into a facility VA rehab in Philly. Signed the papers. It's done. Done. I laughed. Hollow. Like last time? Or the Texas done? His eyes flashed hurt. Then resolve. This time. Yes. Because without you. He stepped closer. Space electric with peril. I'm adrift. No wings. No ground. You're my constant. Constant. The plea tugged. But betrayal's scar tissue held. What if next crisis calls? Another ghost. No more. Hand extended. Palm scarred from some old flight mishap. I choose us. Therapy. Boundaries, whatever it takes. Marry me? Not today. But someday. Build this. Marry. The word floored. Vision of rings and vows dancing desperate. But doubt whispered, thin love. Not yet, I said. Gentle but firm. Prove it. Walk away from the guilt, the pull. Stay. He nodded, tears brimming. I will. Starting now. Summer unfolded cautious. A probationary bloom. Gabe quit long haul. Bidding for Seattle-based crews. Grounded. Present. We therapy tandem. Sessions in a Pike Place office. Unpacking crates of trauma. My disownments echo. His marine losses. Marcus's shadow. Loyalty isn't chains. Our counselor, a soft-spoken dyke named Joe, intoned. It's wings for both. Progress pearled. Joint runs along the waterfront. Breaths sinking to waves. Cooking classes where his enchiladas met my grandma's pie. Laughter sauce. July 4th. We picnicked in Gas Works Park. Fireworks bursting over the lake like stars reclaimed. His head on my shoulder as Katy Perry belted anthems. This is forever, he whispered, fingers laced. But forever tests. August heatwave baked the city, tempers short. My promotion solidified, team lead, corner office tease. But stress simmered, deadlines devouring evenings. Gabe's new route chafed, short hops to Portland, Vancouver, leaving him drained, our bed cold more nights than warm. One sweltering night, post-shift, I found him on the balcony, our new shared lease in Fremont, trolls and tulips below, phone in hand, staring at a text. Marcus, he admitted, unprompted. Discharge papers. Wants to meet closure. The air thickened. Heat no match for chill. No, I said. Simple. He looked up. Conflict carving lines. Just coffee. Philly's far, he's moving east. Final. The word talisman or trap. Go alone, I replied, voice even. But if you do, don't come back. The ultimatum hung. Our first true fracture. He deleted the thread, tossed the phone inside. You're right. Kiss then. Fierce. Ceiling packed. But seed planted. Doubts weed. September brought equinox winds. Changes harbinger. Mom's scans cleared, remission's gift, and she FaceTimed. Dad hovering awkward. Proud of you, son. Progress. Small miracle. Gabe met them virtual. Charm-winning blushes. Dad's grunt approval. Yet undercurrent pulled. Gabe's restlessness. Flights itching like old addiction. Miss the horizon. He'd confess over breakfast. Eyes distant. I nodded. Hiding fear, was I anchor or cage? Climax crested mid-fall. Leaves turning crimson warning. October 15th. Gabe's birthday 33. Milestone marked quiet. Dinner at Canlis. Skyline vista. Steak rare and wine deep. Toasts to survival. But his gift to me, a keychain compass. Engraved true north, felt omen. Post-dinner. Buzzed on Cabernet. We tumbled home. Passion reignited after weeks' drought. Bodies reconnecting. Urgent. Affirming. Dawn found us tangled. His whisper, can't lose this, but loss lurks. That afternoon, as I coded overtime, his call came, airport crew lounge. Voice clipped, emergency bid. Typhoon reroute, Manila, 2 weeks. Pay bump, but, heart plummeted. Marcus texted. Saw it en route. He's out, stable, but asked for advice. Wedding, new guy, the pieces shattered. You answered, just supportive. Neutral, defensive, then crumbling. Christian, it's nothing, everything, I roared. Office emptying around echo. You swore. Closure. Yet here, pulling strings. It's habit, he pleaded. Old wiring. I deleted, blocked. Swear. Too late. The dam broke. Months' resentments flooding. Invisibility's return. His ghosts haunting our hearth. I can't, I gasped. Tears hot. Not again. We're done. Christian, call dropped. My thumb decisive. He arrived an hour later, pounding my door. Our door rain-soaked, eyes wild. Don't. Please. Opened. Resolve steel. Go to Manila. Or him. But not us. He sagged against frame. Defeated. I choose you. Always. But the flight called. Siren. He boarded. I locked the door. The 2 weeks post Gabe's departure stretched eternal. Seattle's autumn deluge mirroring inner storm. I moved out. Sublet crash on Riley's couch. Boxes labeled his shipped south. No note. Work consumed. Project launch. Accolades from suits who praised my focus. Blind to the void fueling it. Nights. I wandered Capitol Hill bars. Flirtations fizzling. A cute barista's number crumpled. Echoes of Gabe in every laugh. Therapy solo now. Joe's office a confessional. Betrayal's not the end, she said. Glasses perched wise. It's excavation. What do you unearth? Myself. Fractured but fierce. I volunteered coding workshops for queer youth at the LGBTQ Center. Their wide-eyed hopes bombed to my bruise. One kid, Jamie, 16 and freshly out, gripped my hand post-session. Thanks for seeing us. Seeing. The irony anchored. Gabe's texts barraged. Manila's hell without you. Come back. Please. Then voicemails. Voice cracking over jet lag static. I blocked him. For real. Landed stateside tomorrow. Meet me, Gate C7. I deleted, but saved one. His whisper of I love you. True North playing till threadbare. November whispered reconciliation's tease. Mom's Thanksgiving invite. Dad's tentative bring your friend. Progress. But solo. I flew east. Brooklyn's table set for mending. Turkey carved with shaky hands. Stories swapped of flights and fights. Love's work, Mom said, squeezing my palm. Worth the turbulence. Back west. Snow-dusted Olympics. City hushed. Riley's nudge. Talk. Or fester. Wisdom in flannel. December 8th. Anniversary of that fated flight. I waited at Seattle-Tacoma. Not arrivals, but the chapel nook. Ironic sanctuary. Gabe emerged from customs. Tanned but thinned. I scanning desperate till landing on me. You came. Needed to. We sat on vinyl pews. Fluorescent halos mocking sanctity. Missed you, I admitted. Walls crumbling. But scared shitless. Me too. His hand found mine. Familiar ache. Manila clarified, skies vast. But empty without you. I quit international. Local only. And Marcus. I wrote the letter. Mailed it. Closure. Sealed. Show me. He did phone gallery. Draft unsent then sent. Brother, you're free. Fly straight. I am. Tears then. Mutual. Cleansing. But why now? Pressed. Thumb tracing his knuckles. After everything, the pulls, the almosts, because thin love's a lie. Baldwin's echo. His eyes fierce. This? Us. Thick roots and wings. tangled true. Marry me. Build the life. The ask. Raw. Rewound to that bar proposal. But steel forged now. Heart swelled. Yes, bubbling. Yes. But slow. Earn it. His kiss sealed. Soft then sure. Chapel bells tolling distant. Spring 2026 bloomed renewal. Our Fremont lease reclaimed. Walls repainted sage. Shelves mingled, his Kerouac beside my code tomes. Gabe's regional routes wove us tighter. Portland breakfast runs. Vancouver sunsets. Home by dusk for dinners shared. Therapy continued. Tandem again. Unpacking last layers. My invisibility's root in a father's silence. His duty's chain from battlefield oaths. Summer solstice. We road-tripped California coast. Big Sur's cliffs our cathedral. Highway 1 curving like promise. At Pfeiffer Beach. Purple sands underfoot. He knelt ring simple. Platinum with coordinates etched. Our flight's apex. Christian Hale. Navigate with me? Yes. I breathed. Salt wind witness. Friends gathered June's end. Riley officiating in a Capitol Hill garden. Elena beaming bridesmaid. Mom and Dad flown in. His handshake firm. Welcome, son. Vows exchanged under arbor. In storms and calm. Seen and seeing. Fall deep in bonds. Joint projects. Gabe shadowing my workshops. Teaching aviation knots to kids' dreams. Holidays healed. Texas visit. His mom's letter thawing. Forgive slow. Love fast, dinner tentative but tender. New Year's. We toasted on our balcony. Fireworks fractal. His arm anchor. To altitudes conquered. Yet humanism tempers. Not fairy tale. But flesh, arguments over socks and schedules. Night's doubt whispers. But mornings choose again. Marcus wrote once. Post-wedding photo enclosed. Happy for you both. Sky's big enough. Forgiveness's quiet grace. 2 years on. July 2028. We board that Seattle to New York red-eye anniversary gift. Full circle. Seat 14A mine. His beside. Hand laced as takeoff presses. Remember? He murmurs. Amber eyes alight. Always. The plane climbs. Clouds parting to dawn. No turbulence. Just us visible, vital, voyaging. Invisibility, a ghost long banished. Kindness mid-flight, the spark that lit our constellation. America's sprawl below, coasts connected. Hearts unhitched. Reminds. Love's not destination, but the bold, bumpy beautiful ride.